My name is Safoora Zargar, and I am a student of Jamia Millia Islamia. I am doing an MPhil in sociology from Jamia. During the anti-CAA protest, after the anti-CAA protest, and during the lockdown, I was one of the students from Jamia who was picked up from my home, arrested and put in jail, and UAPA was slapped on our case subsequently. I got bail after 74 days in prison, only on humanitarian grounds, since I was pregnant at that time. When I was in jail, all of the slander campaign, the vulgar sexualization of me, my body, and my pregnancy that happened, I was in jail and I didn't know about it. Even when people told me, I don't think for a long time I understood the exact magnitude of it. But when I came out of jail, even then I couldn't understand the exact magnitude of it. I think it was after a long time that when I started, I opened all of my social media accounts, and I was shocked because they were flooded with sexual, vulgar insinuations and abuse, and questions raised over the birth of my child. And I also, I think about, more than 1,000 people might have sent me a porn video which was circulating in my name on, on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter also. I saw it. I kept seeing it, and I was so shocked. I think it was the shock that made me continue seeing it. But after a point, I realized that I wish I had not seen it, or I could unsee it, because it just stays in your mind, and it doesn't go away, and it does give you sleepless nights, thinking that how the public or the right wing has looked at you, that gaze, that somebody sitting in some room is looking at your photos and masturbating maybe. And all of those things are happening with Muslim women. It's been normalized now, and it's been happening with everybody. A lot of other women also. It is. I think it was a long time after coming out of jail that I Googled my name. And the reality of whatever had happened behind me actually, dawned on me then, when I saw innumerable videos about, people using my name, and saying whatever they wanted to, and it was, again, I couldn't unsee it, but again, it's still there. Anybody can see it, right? So whenever I used to go out and people, a shopkeeper would ask me like, "Madam, bill banana hai, aapka naam?" So I was reluctant in taking my name, because everything, all of that is also attached to my name, Recently, I went to a wedding, and I could hear people talking behind my back that, oh, this is that girl, who was, जिसके against campaign चला था, she's that girl who was, जिसकी pregnancy पे question हुआ था, जिसके बारे में ये news फैला था, वो news फैला था, and I could hear it all, and they would take out the phone and just Google it and show it to each other. So I know what else are they showing to each other, apart from the fact that I am an activist, I'm a student, and I got bail on humanitarian grounds, and all the charges against me are framed. Apart from that, what else they would see there, I know that, and it does make you very uncomfortable, seeing that, knowing that what people are going to see. So after a point, I realized that it was impossible for me to escape all this. It was not going to go away. So in that sense, I did not have a choice. So rather than just me being like a mute person being hurled abuses at, I decided to become more than that. Basically, I decided to say whatever I wanted to, irrespective of what people are saying about me, because I also did not want to give them the comfort of my silence, because that's what they want, to shut up a woman, just assassinate her character, dehumanize her, and she's just going to run away scared. So these were few of the things that I mean, yes, there is always a choice, but then in my case, for me as a person, there was no choice, no way to escape it, and again, it's still there, all of it, on every tweet of mine, every Facebook post, and in my DMs and in my messages and in my comments. It's still all there, and it's never going to go away, and that's the reality of it. I saw these shocked messages on Twitter from women who were brave, to come out with it, that, there, and it takes a lot of courage and bravery, and nobody should have to go through it, to come out and say that, I was auctioned, I mean, it is shocking, and they were shocked, rightly so. But for the longest time, I didn't know what to say about it, and I think I have still not said on Twitter or anywhere that I was auctioned and this, and I'm so enraged and I'm so shocked, because I don't think that would have been honest. Just in November, I think on the 1st of November or the 2nd of November, I was sent these videos of these two men who were hurling abuses at the women of Shaheen Bagh, saying that जाके pregnant हो जाते हैं वो, or they were actually talking about my case without naming me, and they were talking about Shaheen Bagh and that abusive rant, and with all of the the fantasies and the imaginations of these men, about the vulgar imaginations about what they wanted to do with Shaheen Bagh women. It went on for about 15 minutes. It's a 10 or 15 minutes video, and it went on. And yeah, I mean, so every day, or at least every week, there is something that I was shocked about for the longest time, right? But after a point of time, I stopped being shocked, and I became hopeless, that nobody understands that there is no outrage, and people don't understand how big a thing it is, to be spoken about by random vulgar men who are potential rapists, and seeing them talk about you, and of course Muslim women in general, but specifically about your case, and you're there, and they're referring to you, and it just escapes all outrage, it escapes all scrutiny, it escapes the law. In fact, it might be even there is state patronage, right, to do all of these crimes now. So more than I mean, after a point, I stopped being shocked about it, and it was more about being being more depressed about this continuing harassment that's happening. And there is this rage wherein you don't want to stop talking, because and yeah, I don't want to stop talking because of this thing. But more than that, the problem, the anger and the rage is because how dare somebody do something like this, maybe it affects me, maybe it doesn't affect me, but how dare somebody do that, So again, I've always, since a very early age, I have had this very no tolerance policy towards sexual harassment, in which if I ever was teased, I have never taken it, silently. I have shouted, I have, made sure that that person gets it from me, like however I can. And maybe one day I remember that somebody crossed me on a bike and said some words to me. I don't remember what they said, but I actually went running after that person. But at least I took out my rage, and you just feel that okay, you were not silent, you just gave it back. But with online abuse, the problem is that it's a wall, okay, and you can't react. I mean, there's also so much of public scrutiny and people taking moral high ground that, you are not one of them, so don't be like them. In the end, basically, there is no outlet for that rage. So I think when it keeps when this chronic abuse, I would say, it keeps happening, it's persistent, it's relentless, I think it becomes, I don't have words to express it, but it depresses you beyond a time, and it becomes a sore part of your life, a wound basically, which keeps festering every day, so which is not treated in any way. There is no ointment because there is no justice, there is no legal action, and after a point of time, I think unconsciously or consciously, people also keep thinking कि इसके साथ तो होगा ही, होता ही रहता है. It will happen with her. It's an everyday thing. Even people who have condemned Sully deals or a bully by and incidents of this kind, they have tried to make it look like it's a women's issue, but it is not a woman issue. It is a Muslim women issue, and we need to understand that it is part of their larger agenda, Islamophobic agenda of dehumanizing the minorities. The earlier strategy has always been trying to pit the men against the women, right? I mean, the women actually against the men, by saying that it's the Muslim men who's the cruel, in the popular imagination, he's the cruel one. He's the one who has 4 wives. There is domestic violence happening. There is women are just given talaq just like that, and all of this Islamophobic narrative is not to say that it doesn't happen, but it is not just an Islamic thing. I think that it is a complete South Asian scenario, or even the world scenario, where patriarchy exists, and women women are oppressed, and so that is the case, which is like a world phenomena, and it is more so in the South Asia, right? But to make it specific to the Muslim man, and because of his religious identity, what has happened because of it is that the crimes against Muslim men, the lynchings, the economic boycotts, and all of these things, not just today but over the years, they have been legitimized, and because the dehumanization makes somebody feel disconnected, I mean, saying that they don't deserve to live, so that kind of dehumanization, when it happened, so it was for them easier to justify, so to say, lynchings, so that was something that was happening. But we see that when Muslim women have come out and challenged this narrative, especially, I mean, not that it was not before that, but especially since the Shaheen Bagh movement, it rattled them, because now they demonize the men and put the women as somebody who needed saving, and the Hindu people were saving the Muslim women. But suddenly Muslim women are all, they're all vocal. It's not sudden, we are vocal for our rights. We are, we are progressive thinkers, so to say, right? And we do have the capability to fight for our own and even fight for others. But it was, I think, because of the Shaheen Bagh movement, there was no way to negate this. It was all in front of their eyes, in front for the world to see, and it just dismantled all of the Islamophobic narratives at so many levels. So then again, that patriarchal thinking activates, where they feel that how to now, how to suppress these women, how to suppress their voices. So basically what you do is you again try to dehumanize the Muslim women now. So, that they are taking money and they are characterless, and they would sleep with anybody to get any kind of work done. So these kind of statements, they were fake statements were peddled during the Shaheen Bagh movement, and I see that as a starting point of the dehumanization of Muslim women, separating them from all the other women, and specifically because of their religion and their gender, targeting them. So to say that it is a woman's issue, it is not, right? Because the slurs that are used, the words like sulli and bully, they are so derogatory, and they are derogatory because of my identity. They target my identity. I don't think for a Hindu woman to be called a sulli would be as derogatory as it would be for a Muslim woman, because they're targeting a Muslim identity. And since a Hindu woman wouldn't have that identity, she wouldn't relate to it as much as I can, So it is very important to understand that Muslim women have been targeted, and many people, even in the solidarities that have come, they have tried to make it a women issue, but it is not, right? The problem is that whenever any Muslim issue comes to light, we don't see enough outrage happening on social media, or even the news being covered by journalists, because I feel that it is for them to accept that Muslims in India specifically are being targeted because of their identity, is to also accept the Islamophobic narrative that the state is running. They have to make this acceptance, wherein they are trying to project, that they are trying to project that the government is not anti-Muslim, right? So that it shatters all of that narrative. So that is why I feel that people are not willing to come out openly in solidarity of Muslim women or any crimes against Muslims. You see Dharm Sansad. I think it was the relentless and targeted, I would say, effort of a few journalists that came to light, because I think all of these people, like जिनसे हम लोग expect कर रहे हैं solidarity, all of this narrative is peddled every day in their dining tables, in their WhatsApp groups. It has been normalized so much that they don't even feel the need to outrage over it. So it takes so much of effort, shouting, and I would say, like me laying my heart open in front of a public, I mean people I don't know, for them to actually realize that how much problematic it is, and there is no empathy from the Hindu majority right now for the crimes that are being committed against the Muslims. It's been normalized to such an extent, even in everyday communications. As I said, it's been taken to our dining tables. It's been in every WhatsApp group. You will see hundreds of such messages being peddled, right? It is the reality that we all know of, but I think the problem is that they have normalized it to such an extent that they don't feel that it needs to be outraged on, right? And they cannot empathize, because it is a specific targeting of a community using specific terms that are only relatable by the Muslims. For example, the term Sulli. I think a lot of people do not even know wouldn't understand the meaning, and they wouldn't. And I mean, somebody told me that what is so derogatory about this term, and the fact that I have to go and explain the derogation that it has putting on me. I think that is a trauma in itself. To go on and I think talking about trauma is also traumatic. So that's what we have to keep doing. We have to keep narrating our traumas. We have to keep narrating our ordeals, and only when it gives them the feeling of them saving us, that is when they will swoop in to save us and talk about us. And even then, I mean, there is so much of narrative shifting that happens. For example, we were talking about how it how Muslim women are being targeted, and the solidarities that were also coming in were also on like how women in general in India fear sexual abuse, and there are so many rapes happening. Nobody is negating all of that, but this is in addition to all of what other women are going through, that we as Muslim women have to go through. And the reason that they cannot empathize with us is because it has the hate that the rot in the society that has reached the grassroots level, that has reached every dining table. I mean, you see, and now who are the arrested in all of these apps? It's 18-year-olds and 20-year-old children, I would say. I mean, they're adults, but they're just entering adulthood, right? They are the ones who are supposedly masterminds, or who are who are active members of the app and who are part of the entire racket that there is. What does it show? It just shows us that even our kids, I mean, even not our kids, even the Hindu majority's kids are getting radicalized because of all the hate that is spewed on primetime news channel, on our WhatsApps, on our Telegrams, on our Instagram. All social media has become hate. Hate. It's all about hate mongering everywhere against Muslims, specifically against Dalits, and of course against Christians also. But largely, the main target has since years been the Muslim community itself. That is why I don't think they can empathize with us. The natural response, apart from towards myself, but mine towards my family, is obviously to shield them, from all of this. And I don't really mention now all of this to my parents or my siblings or my partner also. But sometimes when it gets really blown out of proportion and it is there on the TV screens, and relatives see it and everybody is talking about it, then there is obviously no escape. But I have always tried to downplay it for my family, because I don't want them to be hurt more by thinking that I am getting so affected or so deeply hurt by all of this. So I've always said that no, it's everyday thing. They are just keep saying, and I just keep ignoring. So that's what I tell them. But it does affect them, of course. So I'm more concerned about how my child will take it growing up, because there is no way to erase it. It's like the written word is written and it just stays there for all of eternity, right? Nobody can put the ink back into the pen once it's gone out, right? So that is, I think, the most horrific part of it, that it doesn't go away, right? You have to live with it for all of your life. So it does worry me how my child is going to take it. But then I think about it, I think it's up to me how I raise my child to be, that is how he is going to take it.